Okay, so as we always do with every show, let's dive over to our POTA Minute here. Woohoo! All right, POTA Minutes. So this one's titled today, actually, back up here. For those that are new to the POTA Minute, it's just one small idea, one real-world observation, a rough 60 seconds. I can't guarantee that, but I try to stay within those boundaries. And depending on how committed we are, you can kind of accept or deny the definition of what a minute really means. But with that, this week's POTA Minute for me is called Convenience is Not Capability. I think a lot of times when we do a lot of POTA activations or in terms of trying to make our POTA activations more convenient, sometimes we end up missing the mark a little bit. And, sometimes when it comes along the lines of like, say, technology and using technology, and that's kind of what we're talking about today a little bit, and with the internet, we all know that, you've gone to your favorite parks. You've basically gone to even some new parks and never really understood that if you had cell service there. And we rely a lot on internet for that type of stuff when we're doing our activations. We were, activating today at Silver Lake with the ham camp, and lo and behold, the guys were both logging on hammers. And the internet's not 100% great there. I mean, it's a little spotty on and off. And a lot of the kids were like, well, why isn't that logging or pulling the person's name in? I want to say hello to whatever their name is. And it was because the internet was, basically spotty, and it wasn't doing QRZ lookups in time. And so, we become comfortable with the internet. We've become comfortable with being able to pull those, we'll say bits and meta information into our lives to make our convenience, less capable. And so, we're going to dive into the idea that, our radios always work at every park, which is awesome. We're not dependent on that stuff. But there's other things that, you probably don't really take in consideration and building around an internet-less kind of activation, whether you have it at the park or not. So just kind of keep that in mind as we kind of flow through today's conversation a little bit. It's all about, again, we're stretching. We're giving ourselves a little bit more opportunity to open the doors a little bit more for experience. Looking forward to getting into our conversation today for sure. So anybody else I missed there? It looks like the chat is pretty lively there. 33 years now. I very much remember in the early 90s, there weren't places like the spotting network. I mean, we had the RBN, which at the time was mostly just for the CW guys. Because for them, it was a little challenging to be able to get out there because they can't, just call over and over again. And so they created that network. But there wasn't like this, it was almost like voodoo to self-spot yourself. I mean, because contesting was a big thing in the, late 90s. It still sort of is, but ultimately, I think it's kind of been replaced with POTA and a few other of the OTAs. Most people didn't really take any effort except for the fact that they knew that they had to sit in front of the radio and call over and over and over and over again. Or if they were lucky enough and they were CW and they could do Morse code, they could use the RBN to, connect through over HF to be able to be picked up. But the RBNs weren't really super popular. You couldn't pull it up on your phone. You couldn't pull it up on your, your tablet or whatever. It was very much like if you were in your home shack, you could leverage it, because it was through things like Telnet and, the text-based version of the internet that people grew up on in the late 90s and early 2000s. And it really wasn't, we'll say, commonplace for people to go, oh, yeah, I self-spotted. Like, if you said that on any, scenario, most people would be like, ooh, why did you self-spot yourself? I mean, that's like taboo. And so, since the dawn of POTA and everything else like that, we have literally changed ourselves and our mindset that, it is very norm. It's the norm to self-spotting. If you don't self-spot, you're kind of looked at like you're weird. That's, flip that on its ear a little bit. But I find even a lot of times like self on the air and getting yourself spotted. Now, one of my favorite ones, and we all have done it, is along the lines of simply you call CQ, or you do one of two things. You can either call CQ, or if you're so inclined and you don't feel like you're interrupting a park to park, you can sometimes ask a park to park, once you get a hold of them, if they could spot you. And that's not always the norm, but I know, like for me, if I just immediately, because I've forgotten the park number, I've got the park number, but I don't have a way to spot myself, I'll scan the band real quick, find an open spot. It won't be my permanent place, but ultimately I'll start there, call CQ till someone answers. And someone comes back to me, I'll then ask them, hey, can you do me a favor? I don't have cell service. Can you spot me? And if they say, yeah, awesome, you're spotted. And then you can hang out there the rest of the frequency. If they can't spot you, try, moving down the band a little bit, find another spot and call CQ there. And all I'm doing is really just kind of moving myself to get to a place where I can get somebody to pick me up, and hopefully they'll have a way to be able to spot me and get my park on the spotting page. Simple and easy, no problems, doesn't require anything except asking and saying thank you. And hopefully, kind Samaritan hunter will be like, yeah, no problem. I'm in front of a computer. I can spot you. 9 times out of 10, you'll probably find one pretty quickly. And that'll get you going. So I think a lot of the confusion, hey, can you spot me? What I think is a challenge is that a lot of these systems that we're relying on, although are convenient, have kind of caused us to think less outside the box. And thinking like, if we, you ever go to those escape rooms and like they give you a set of clues and you have to kind of figure out how to get out of the escape room. Well, that's kind of the scenario with an activation. How do you get yourself activated when you're not in a place that you have cell service, or you not have a place that you can get Wi-Fi or public Wi-Fi or anything? Because I know a lot of parks don't have that capability. And I'm almost positive, I don't think even in a lot of national parks, unless you're near like a lot of the, central hubs or whatever, that you have a way to get, wireless access. So, thinking a little bit ahead, thinking about how you can prepare and having all of the data information you need for appropriate, being set up and ready, then you can then rely on the other hunters and the other people in the community to be able to get you on this whole process. I would say I want to encourage you guys to build an offline kit. This is one more thing, which I think is very simple to do, but it'll help solve those little nuances or bumps in the road you might have if you get to a park that doesn't have internet or has no level of internet or a small amount of internet. Look at it as, you're building a analog version of it. We all love our analog radios. And some people don't like digital for whatever reason. Build an offline kit, make it analog. Have a map. A map is always important. Or use offline maps on your phone. That's another way to do that. If you still want to do digital, you can use your phone, but make sure your maps are offline and test that. Make sure that's a good resource that you can rely on when you have zero internet. Your park reference and all that stuff we mentioned before, have it written down in a note, have it written down on a piece of paper, put it at the top of your log before you even get a chance to get to the park. If you know the band plans well, then that's okay. No problems there. I know when I try to get into work bands, I don't often frequently go into those spaces. So having a little band plan, the big thing, obviously everybody loves the quirky QRP mats. Those are perfect resources, both for protecting your radio from really gross, picnic benches. But at the same time, have a lot of those things in there. And that is an offline mode. Get one if that's something that can help you. Learn how to use things like UTC on your wristwatch. I mean, I have a smartwatch, if I could put it in frame here. I run UTC on it, so I know exactly what UTC is and, where I am based off of what it is, as well as, typical things like a compass and a few other, pieces that I know that this watch can continue to function even when it's not connected to the internet. And the last one is obviously paper logs. That's just kind of a norm for all of the paper analog folks. Worry about all of the extra stuff in between. And outside of that, man, You know, if I bring this in for a landing, I think like the takeaway is let's build the offline. Let's build an offline solution or system that can help you when you do run into a place that you don't have the stuff that you've relied on throughout, and be better. And it doesn't have to be in that emergency only type spin. Be in a way that you're very much thinking about the place of how you can get better and be able to adapt to any such kind of scenario that internet throws at you, or say ham radio or an activation throws at you. Anything left there? Okay, cool. Yeah, traveling ham. There's definitely the preparedness thing. I I saw a post from Scout 75 from '08 STN, which I kind of agreed to. I don't think ham radio, at least Parks on the Air, is a, let's say, emergency preparedness thing. We do some emergency preparedness, but I definitely think it is a preparedness thing for sure. We definitely are preparing to be better operators, and the one piece that I think that we don't do well is passing that forward. How are you moving that needle forward? How are you giving what you've learned off to another future ham that new to the hobby, and sharing that information so you can create more room for you to be able to learn more stuff and get deeper down the rabbit hole, as they say, and join Alice, maybe, as they say. Okay, well, with that, let's put a little bow on this. Like I always like to say, remember, whether you're activating or hunting, the goal's going to always be simple. Have fun. I like to say, stay safe, keep exploring. Until next time, guys, thanks again for hanging out with us. Keep those radios on, the PTT down, and as always,